pandemic has spread faster than any disease in modern history.
Angry mobs roam the city, commercial buildings.
Authorities are bracing for more rioting tonight.
He was knocked unconscious yesterday.
A citywide emergency has been declared.
The CDC has quarantined the lower Midwestern region of the U.S.
Commitment, honesty, integrity, these are the core values that create the foundation for Umbrella. It's this foundation that will continue to build a brighter future for all of us.
Before I start my review, I do want to say there will be major spoilers, so if you haven't finished the game and plan to, I'd wait to watch this video. I also will only be reviewing the story, not the multiplayer. It just didn't seem worth playing to me. If you played the great RE2 remake, you'll for sure like the Resident Evil 3 remake. But unlike the one before, Capcom wanted to go with a more fast-paced action feel. Now, I'm not saying it's like Resident Evil 5 or 6, definitely not. But they did add some action elements and mixed it in with the horror elements that can kind of relate to Resident Evil 2 remake, which, in my opinion, I think they mixed very well together. In the original 1999 Resident Evil 3, you open up with a big bang and Jill being rushed into a horde of zombies. But in the remake, you wake up as Jill, but in first person and in a creepy but quiet apartment, and this will surely catch any new or old players off guard. It turns out that you are in a dream, and you wake up again, but now you play in the third person. As you look around your apartment, you get a call, and right after, you're attacked by Nemesis, and all feeling of safety and security is quickly gone, which sets the pace for the rest of the game. As I said before, Capcom wanted to go with a more fast-paced and more action game, and you can really see with the zombies being more common and new enemy types. Zombies now spawn more frequent, and there's even sections where you have to fight off a horde as Carlos. Speaking of Carlos, you'll see the more action-packed moments with Carlos and his full auto assault rifle, which in my opinion, pretty dope. But Capcom also added 2 new special moves. I guess I don't really know what to call them, but with Jill they added a new dodge mechanic where you can leap out of the way of an attacking enemy, and with Carlos you can punch an enemy to the ground like Chris Redfield style, like Boulder style. And don't think that there aren't any horror elements. With the more zombie spawns, it's really easy to be caught off guard and to be attacked out of nowhere, but don't worry, Capcom added a new quick time mechanic where if a zombie attacks you, you can mash a button to either get away quicker or lose less health, or even none. And of course, we can't forget about the big boy Nemesis, who will appear from time to time for boss fights and just encounters, where he runs, shoots, and grabs you till you momentarily down him and get away. Now, I played on Xbox One X, and the graphics were surprisingly an upgrade compared to the Resident Evil 2 remake. One thing that definitely stood out was the characters' facial textures and animations. They looked amazing, probably some of the best I've seen recently. Now, one of, and maybe the only problem, is the length of the game, which is only like 5 hours. I completed it in like 5.5. Sometimes it can be 6 or 4, depending on your own playthrough, compared to the 7 hours of the original. But there are also changes made to the remake compared to the original. For example, the park area is just completely gone, and the clock tower is, I mean, it's still in the game, but you can only see it outside of it in a boss battle, compared to it being a whole section. But I think Capcom understood this, or did this for a specific reason, because the hospital section was expanded, and they added a whole new underground umbrella lab, which isn't repetitive compared to the RE2 underground lab. So I think they did very good in this general area. Now let's talk about Big Boy Nemesis. A lot of people talk about how bad he is in the remake compared to the original, because it doesn't feel like he follows you and stalks you, while in the remake he just is held back and only in certain segments or boss battles. But I think this benefits the game with these segments, and then how Nemesis pops up and it feels tense and stressful, and by the time you get comfortable with him, it changes up, always keeps you on your feet. If he was more stalkerish, it would be repetitive like Mr. X in the original RE2 remake. With these segments and boss battles, he's always a challenge, and you can never really figure his AI out, and when you do, a new element is introduced, making sure it's always tense and you're always on your feet. Now, character-wise, all they really did was expand on each of the characters. I don't think they really took anything away from them like they did with the locations, and this expansion on characters can really be seen with Carlos, with him looking and now not really even having an accent compared to the original. They also have updated Jill's outfit to make it more, well, practical, because if remember the original one, not practical at all. But I think they also fleshed her out and gave her like a way more personality. Like, I really love like the funny back and forth with Carlos and Jill in the cutscenes. It just really adds to the story, in my opinion. So, the remake of Resident Evil 3 definitely took away some elements and sections of the original, but expanded on other parts enough to make up for the rest that was removed. And the 5 hours I played was great from start to finish. It also ran and looked great for all 5 hours. So, I think I might give the remake of Resident Evil 3 a 9 out of 10 Jill sandwiches. Yep, 9 out of 10 Jill sandwiches. And yes, I'll probably eat them by the time I'm done editing this video. It was a great game. I definitely do recommend you buying it. And I just wanted to mention again, I did not play the multiplayer. I only played the story mode. But I think the story mode alone in the 5 hours is definitely worth the $60. Maybe you want to wait, but I do think if you want to get it now, you should. It's a good game and a great remake.